Hi guys, in today's video we'll quickly go through some technical analysis of the markets, specifically the crypto market and the stock markets, a few stocks, not every one of them. So to start off with, we'll go with crypto and bitcoins because Bitcoin is the leading cryptocurrency and it is basically kind of like the father of all crypto. So I like to do my analysis starting with the day chart. So initially what I'm looking for is the long-term trend. The long-term trend is obviously a downtrend as you can see from here. So after I can see that, I try to spot potential resistance and support levels. So at the moment we're at 22k, almost 23k. Yeah, very close to 23k. And we can clearly see that after after you broke this level of resistance, the next level we would potentially be testing would be around 29,000. That would be where the next resistance comes. That's on the day chart. So in the long term, that's where we can see a bit of resistance. So if I draw that, that's gonna be our resistance chart. So I'm just gonna color that red. Okay, so now we know where the resistance is, and now we know where we are at as well. Now we're gonna go into a smaller time frame. Because this is crypto, I like to use the 1 hour time frame rather than the 30-minute because it trades for 24 hours. So on the 1 hour chart, we can clearly see that it has broken this major level of resistance over here. So this level has been tested multiple times, as you can see. So ever since, well, July or even before that. So let me use the 4 hour chart because it's still a bit too much information on the 1 hour chart. So in the 4 hour chart we can see that this level of somewhere around 18 to 19k has been a major support level for a couple of months. So since June until November it has acted as support, and then we broke below it, and finally we are above that level of previous support, which turned into resistance. So we broke that level of resistance and we are currently at 22k. So if I'm taking a trade, I don't trade crypto unfortunately, so I'm going to be very transparent about that. If I am trading crypto, what I would set my trade as is I would potentially look to see if it would basically retest this support level over here around the 18 to $19,000 range. Or what I would do is if it does continue making higher highs and higher lows, I'm going to drop down a time frame to the 30-minute because I am a swing trader. This video is aimed at swing trading. So if I am taking a swing trade over here, I can clearly see that we identified a potential level of resistance with the day chart at 29k, and I would look to buy at a lower price than this, so a higher low. That's where I would potentially look to buy. So if I am buying, I can even buy here, but if I am buying there, I would set my target a bit lower than the level of resistance, and I would have to set my stop loss below the previous higher low. So the previous higher low is at 20k, as you can see here. So if I am taking that trade, the risk to reward ratio is 2.16. It is good, but I would still be a bit cautious because it has been running for the past couple of days now. So I would potentially buy it at a next higher low. So maybe at the retest of this 200 MA, or even the retest at this support level if that does go in their favor. So that's one potential trade that I would look to take in Bitcoin. Moving, the next crypto that I'm looking at is actually Ethereum. We're looking at the day chart now. Let me just draw that. So in the day chart, it clearly is a downtrend since November last year. Well, 2021 actually. It is in a downtrend, but recently we can see that it has been accumulating. So that downtrend looks like it has ended, and then now it's just range trading, as you can see here, from the 11th of August until, well, today. So it is kind of range bound at the moment. What I'm looking at is actually a break of this resistance level, because we can clearly see that this area has been a resistance level for Ethereum. And if I am taking that trade, I would look to buy at the retest of this resistance, which will potentially turn into support. So I'm looking at, let me just try to draw that. It breaks above, it could make a higher high, higher low, test this this support level, and then continue on higher. That is what I'm looking to take. So let me just draw that. And okay, let me get that off the chart as well. So if I am taking that trade, where can I potentially take profits? So I'm still on the day chart. On the very long term time frame, I can see that this area looks like an area where potential sellers could step in. So that's where I would look to take my profits on the long term time frame, and I would split my stop loss below this lower high. So over here initially, and then I'm dropping the time frame down to the 4 hour. If it was stocks, I would probably use the 1 hour chart, but then this is crypto, it trades 24 hours like I said before. So I'm using the 1 hour chart to get a bit more precise, and I can't really see the take profit levels. I would potentially take it around 2200, but my stop loss, I can expand on that. So I can see that this is the previous higher low at $1,500. I would slightly adjust this higher. It doesn't really make a difference, because if it does break this level of resistance, I would look to place my potential stop loss somewhere around here as well, because this seems like it's forming a higher low over here. If I drop down to the 30-minute chart or the 1 hour chart, I can see that as well. Yeah, there we go. It's setting a higher low over here, so I can either set it here or I can be safe and set it here, but technically I would use a 30-minute time frame to trade, so that's where I would set my stop loss. So overall, that is a risk to reward ratio of, let me see, 3.78, which is good. So that is how I would usually break down crypto, but I do not trade crypto, I trade stocks. Still accumulating capital in a way as well, trying to get back into the market. So stocks, let's just start with one of my favorite stocks to trade, nvda. I probably pronounced that wrong, but never mind. So with this stock, we can clearly see it has been, once again, I'm using the day chart. The very first thing that I'm looking at is the long-term trend. Long-term trend is on a downtrend, because we can clearly see price has been falling, but recently it has been setting a higher low over here and kind of a higher high over here, and it's trying to set a higher high over here. But if you look closely, I just saw this, it kind of looks like a inverted head and shoulders over here. So okay, so if I'm drawing it out, it kind of looks like this. So this would be the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder, and potentially if it does break out, it would go up, test this, and then probably continue higher. That would be the potential scenario if that's a bullish case. So I'm just gonna get rid of this as well, and let me get that done. Okay, so back to the chart. It is going on an uptrend now. This has been a major level of support somewhere around this range as well. But even more than that, this area was a major area of support. But I don't really think that it could test that. One of the main things that I look out for is Wednesday next week there is a earnings call for nvda. It can be very volatile next week, so do not think that your opinion matters. Just go with what the market goes for. So if I am trading nvidia, on the long term it is on a downtrend. On the medium term, which is somewhere around 2 weeks to, I would say, 4 weeks to 2 months, it has been consolidating within this range, on the very short term time frame, which is in the last 2 weeks, it has been in an uptrend, so that is good. So I would be a bit bullish when it comes to this stock. But how would I trade it? So I can clearly see that this area was an area of resistance. It is an upcoming resistance because we can see here that sellers stepped in, and I'm not too sure that we can see it before. Let me see. Yep. So this area was a major place where sellers stepped in. So I would potentially look to short this trade. It depends on how the market reacts after it reaches this level. If it does go down, or if it does get rejected off this, I'll potentially take a trade with my target profit level somewhere around this range. It won't be there exactly, but my stop loss would be above the high it sets, or above here around this range, which is actually a pretty good risk to reward ratio. This is the bearish scenario. So to be more precise, I'm gonna go down to the 5 minute or the 30-minute time frame, probably the 5 minute, to get a better dot point to where it goes. So as in a more specific range, when I'm like setting trades where to get in, where to get out, I would use the 5 minute. So if I am using the 5 minute, I would enter somewhere around here. But in order for me to enter there, I wouldn't place a limit order, as in I wouldn't just enter it randomly over there. It has to get rejected off this level. So what I am looking for is it continues up. Maybe it has some volatility here, gets rejected, sets a lower low. That's when I get in, and this is where I would look to take profits. That is one of the scenarios with nvidia. So okay, that was annoying. Let me get rid of that. And stop loss, like I said before, you can't see it on this chart. If I go to a higher time frame, that's where I will be able to see it. Over here. Yep, that's where I would set my stop loss a bit. I would be a bit more precise though. And the last one, TQQQ. As we know, this is based on the nasdaq markets overall. I would be very cautious when I'm trading TQQQ, because we can clearly see that it has been rejected at this downtrend, this trend line. It has always been rejected every time it meets that, and recently it looks like it's going to meet that. If it does get rejected, as in it does basically reach this point, so let me just draw that for you just for an example, better explanation. Reaches that, gets rejected, it would potentially come down to somewhere around here to test this level of support. So if I am trading TQQQ, I would wait to see what happens here. I wouldn't get in, I wouldn't get out. So if it does break out, this is the bullish scenario. If it does break out of this range, it would be the first time in basically a year it invalidates this trend line. So in that case, I would potentially look to go long. Once again, in order for me to get in, it has to show higher highs and higher lows. It should give me bullish confirmation, and I would set my stop loss. I would initially first set my stop loss. I don't know where it is. Okay, let me just get that fixed. So if I am setting my stop loss, I would set it based on the higher low. So if I'm going down to the 30-minute time frame, this is so annoying sometimes. So I can say that the higher low is now, it's here. So I would set my stop loss at around $18, $18.45. I'm not going to get very precise with it at the moment. And if I look to take profits, I can see that once it does break this, this could be a potential area of resistance. So I would be a bit skeptical, or a bit careful when I'm going in there, but I would potentially take my profits as at the second it invalidates the trend actually, rather than looking at where the sellers would step in. It is good to see where the sellers step in though, so I will do that. I'm not a dumb trader. I have been. I'm still learning from my mistakes, and that's the key thing, I think. Just learning from your mistake, journaling it down, and then moving forward. So here, I would look to take profits somewhere around this range, because I can see that here and here sellers have stepped in. So sellers have stepped in at around $30, but I would potentially either take my profits earlier or take my profit at the second it invalidates a trend. So one of the main things that I'm looking for is, one, I'm looking for higher highs and higher lows. So here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for higher highs and higher lows if I'm going bullish in a stock or crypto. I'm looking for lower highs and lower lows if I'm shorting. That's the main thing. And then I'm using three different time frames. One, the long-term time frame. Most of these stocks and crypto in the long term are in a downtrend. In the medium term, it is consolidating, so it's in the accumulation phase, meaning it's just range trading. And in the short term, it has been bullish. So a bit bullish bias, but I'm always respecting what the markets has to offer. So those are some trade areas that I'm looking for. If I have made some mistakes, please feel free to correct me. Drop some messages, because I'm also still learning, and I will still learn to, well, take losses, take profits in the good way. So always drop a message. I'm always is. And yeah, have a good one, guys. See ya.